Welcome back, traders. Today we are going to be going over ticker symbol XRP, baby, and I'm very interested to do this one because I've been very speculative on XRP. I would say throughout its entire history. I personally have never believed in XRP, but it keeps on proving me wrong. So now I'm in that you're not a believer until you're a believer phase, right? Similar to what Bitcoin does to people. And I really thought you were going to see some kind of head and shoulders here because that's what it looked like. It turned into some kind of flag or pennant, and you have since broken up from that pennant, guys. So let's talk about levels. Let's talk about a couple different areas you can expect to see resistance, and then also see pretty much just price discovery because past $4, $3.40, it's all price discovery. So take everything that I say with a grain of salt. Nothing is confirmed. This is just what technical analysis is telling me and the chart is telling me. So we had this falling wedge charted in the genesis of XRP back in 2021 to 2023, pretty much. And this was a great buying opportunity if you were able to get in. Most people weren't. That's okay. I know it was going through that whole lawsuit thing with the SEC being incredibly stupid. But now, since the absolute disgusting pump, you turn red on the weekly MACD, which is for me the most important momentum indicator, and you have since flipped that green, which is a beautiful sign with a beautiful breakout of this pennant. Now, if I took that profit target of the pennant, so we take the previous move to the top, to the breakout, and that, funny enough, is confluent with this resistance trend here. So let me draw that a little bit more accurate. There you go. So that is confluent with that resistance trend. So where does that bring us to? Around $9. Now that is an absolute pump and a half. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but $9 is what that technical analysis is telling me from the pattern breakout. Now, if you wanted to be a little bit more speculative, which I always am, I'm always a safe trader, or I try to be with a lot of these riskier assets. You could take the previous top to the new top, and that would give you resistance right around $4, make them holler. And I could see that being a very real scenario. Every single dollar, you can expect some kind of mental resistance there where people are going to be taking profits. They're going to have stop orders and buy orders set. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Now, I do really, really, really like the green flip on the MACD. That looks disgusting. And if you can hold this breakout, and continue to climb higher and grind higher, eventually you are going to retest the all-time high. Now, let's get into the daily. Now, on the daily, it's so-so. You had a beautiful flag that formed back here, a nice pump, and then you now have a shooting star candle. Now, you'd like to see this close higher towards the top of the wick at around $2.95 to $3. If that does happen on the daily, which would be beautiful, you would print a inverse bullish hammer candle. Holy Toledo, it took me a while to get out. An inverse bullish hammer candle in which you could expect to see further continuation. But shooting star candles typically are reversal top indicators. So you could see this thing come down to that 50-day EMA at $2.30. You could see it retest the wedge. Nothing's out of line here. Nothing is out of possibility. And I think it might be actually a little healthier for it to retest this 50 or retest the wedge here before looking for an insane pump like freaking $9. That would just make XRP one of the largest gainers of the entire cycle this last 4 years. So that would be insane. Let's flip to the 4 hour here. You're green on the daily MACD, so that is another box to check there. And then the 4 hour, Very similar here, right? So you cross down on the 4 hour, and it looks like you might be making some kind of inverse head and shoulders if you find support at 260, depending on what Bitcoin does here. And if you do end up coming all the way back down, let's see this trend line here. You need to hold this trend. If you do not hold this trend, you are going to form a head and shoulders pattern, in my opinion. In my opinion, that's just usually how the market goes. You're going to retest that, and then you're going to dump down to the trend line. Overall, short term, you need to hold this trend line. And if you do, if you hold this trend line, you can expect a breakout above $3, retest, and then you go. So that would be short term, your move up to $4. If you do not hold this trend line, it is still bullish, guys. You are just going to experience short-term pain down to that top of the pennant for a retest, and then you go, in my opinion, because everything is geared to just run right now, and I don't think that a short-term pullback is going to stop any of that. For XRP, you are within this bullish triangle here as long as you hold this, guys. So that's all I have for XRP today, guys. Short-term, long-term price targets. Nothing I say is financial advice. Please, please, please have a wonderful rest of your day, y'all, and peace.